Hey guys, Swanee and Cookie here with yet another podcast. Today we're going to dive into a couple new updates that came out for the new game that will come out in November, Fallout 76, as a lot of other people were very hyped about this game, but we're also a little bit concerned because it is a new venture for Fallout 76, making it more of a multiplayer-oriented game away from its single player that it has been for the last few games. So there was a couple of updates that just came out that may make us and others feel a little bit better about the future of Fallout. One of those updates was about the entirety of this griefing process, because if you guys don't know, griefing is basically if a person tries to join the game just to be a dick and constantly kill you and ruin everything and just mess the game up for you, which was one of the biggest worries people had about this game going in. And now it looks like they've kind of alleviated that problem for the most part, Swanee. Tell us more or less how they kind of tried to do that.
Okay, well, to start off, like when you spawn in as a new character, well, they made it so you cannot set up your like base camp like right outside that vault. Like I'm sure you can probably stay in the vicinity and camp with if like upgraded weapons if you really wanted to, but you can't like set up your little workshop area and build a base. That way you can just kill all the new players. Because, I mean, there's not that... I mean, there's NPCs, but there's no raiders in this game. I think they said that there is an AI faction that has weapons and stuff that you can fight, but they want to make it so that the majority of interaction you have is just with other players and not like the raiders and bandits and whatnot. So they made it so that you see every person on the radar. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I know that they said they want it so that you can like see where somebody is on the map and then like go help them out with a challenge or something. And I guess if everybody's available on the map, you could easily avoid people. But I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, and I don't think you're alone on that either. I think a lot of people are really concerned about how they're going to try and incorporate all the different elements of this game. I think it's a good sign that they're already trying to alleviate griefing already this early in the process, that they seem to be listening to the community and how concerned they are about this. And even in the way Todd Howard presented the game at E3, he sounded like he was understanding that people are going to have a problem with this process and that there's a lot that could potentially go wrong and that they're going to try to fix those kind of problems and stuff like that. So I think it's a good sign that they're already communicating how they're going to get rid of griefing, but I think there's probably going to be and probably going to need to be update after update after update to keep people from ruining the game for other people. So I think that could be a huge concern, and I'm not sure how I feel about radar either, but like that, it sounds like they're trying to kind of set it up so that people they want people to find each other.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, and it sounds like if you can't find each other, there might not be nearly as much not really to do, but nearly as much interest in this Fallout 76 universe if you're not able to find each other.
If the map's as big as they say it is, having the radar turned off would probably make it almost impossible to find anybody.
Yeah, it's 4 times the size of Fallout 4, which was gigantic. So I can only imagine how big this map is.
It's got to be pretty.
So yeah, I think you have to have the radar.
Well, they said that they're going to have like I think 25 to 32 ish. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's around that area, around 30 people.
You're right.
At once in the same lobby, and then there's a squad system where you can have up to 4 people. So that's cool. And then, they said there's a trading system. That's another plus. So if I have my crafting up and I make really epic armor, I can trade it with my friends, or I can sell it to other players for caps. So that's really freaking cool. Or if you have like really cool
the trading
armor that
system
just
really
looks
smart.
cool, I can just buy it from you.
See, for me, it's like it sounds like they're doing a lot of things to alleviate the problems other MMO type games have had with making their games seem more realistic in an online world. But to be honest, it really hasn't been done extremely well yet. I don't feel like a lot of games have tried to make it seem really realistic in an online world, but have been mostly unsuccessful. I mean, they're still fun games, but they're not necessarily able to make it realistic. If Fallout loses its realism, it kind of loses the appeal of the game. Like, it has to feel like a campaign, and that's pretty hard to do in a multiplayer universe. So I think that they're doing the best they can with stuff. Like, I like how they also introduced something where they said that if somebody killed you, they don't get nearly as much out of that. Like, they get something, but it's not much, and they also get like a wanted penalty if they kill somebody else in the game. And if you die, you don't really get anything. You just you spawn pretty close to where you died. Yeah, you don't lose your weapons. So there's not a lot of incentive to be a dick, to be honest.
No.
There's not much of a reason to do it.
I mean, there's a reason to, like, kill someone that has a bounty, but, yeah, there's not much of a reason to be a douchebag in this game, which is good, because that'll, like, eliminate a lot of the griefing and will, like, encourage a lot of people to play with each other. Because if you don't get anything from killing each other, there's no reason to really do it, unless you just want to be a dick.
And some people will just do it just to be a dick.
Oh, yeah.
No reason whatsoever. There's definitely people like that. But yeah, this will at least get rid of a good portion of them if they have no real incentive to do it other than just be a pain.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, like, there's always the option if you are part of a big community and you can get in, like, a Discord server or something. But outside of that, I mean, you're going to have to deal with this kind of stuff. Hopefully it's on a really minimal amount because just hoping that people won't do it is just never going to happen. Yeah. As long as you're with online people, somebody's going to be an ass and they're going to do it. It's just the nature of it.
A lot of people are wanting, like, a private match. That way you can just have a lobby with your friends. And I'm pretty sure, I think they said they're not going to have private matches at launch, but I think they're looking into it. So we'll probably get that later down the road, which is, I mean, I would want to play it in private match. I wouldn't really, that way I could just invite a few of my friends, and then hopefully I think they're going to look into raising the squad level up higher too. That way you could just have a whole squad of, like, all your friends in a private match just run around. And then they also said that later on they're going to add mods. So there's going to be mod servers and stuff. So
yeah, so there's going to be, it sounds like they are trying to do all kinds of updates over and over and over and over again, which is great, and they want this game to last a really long time.
Yeah, all the DLC's free.
But it is a chance, yeah, all the DLC's free, and they're trying to introduce a cosmetic microtransaction system. Now, the game we usually cover, Star Wars Battlefront 2, is obviously trying to do that now, fairly late into the process. Fallout 76 is trying to do that right from the beginning. And you would think if they're doing that from the beginning, they'll have much more cosmetic options available, which is one issue Battlefront
Plus,
has.
you
They
can
just
get
don't have that
everything
much
in-game. You
available
don't have
for
to
that.
buy them.
Yes.
Which is another huge plus.
Yeah, and hopefully the grind's not as bad. Because, I mean, you technically can buy everything in-game for Battlefront 2, but the grind is horrendous.
Well, if you can work with teammates...
It's insane.
And, like, trade, then it should be pretty simple. I wonder if you can, like, buy something with real money and trade it to your friends. That way, if you had a rich friend, they could just buy everything for everybody.
Like, I'm wondering just how inhabited this whole universe is. Like if you didn't have those 30-some online people, how many NPCs would you even be dealing with? Because, like you said, there's no raiders. There is that, like, I think they said, like, it's a half ghoul kind of person who's been, like, half mutated and everything or something, and they have some sort of faction, and you can fight them throughout the time.
And then there's a crap ton of monsters.
Yeah, crap ton of monsters, which are all based on, like, West Virginia folklore, which is kind of interesting. But the whole, like, I'm just kind of curious, like, how often you're interacting with things that aren't online players. Because obviously in all the other Fallout games, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
You would think. Because it's not like, like you said, it's only, like, at the max 30 people.
A lot of this game focuses
on this gigantic
exploring.
map.
They're not going to make it so you explore and not have much to kill.
Yeah. I would think. And plus, it's very because it's not like a city like Pittsburgh or Boston like it has been in the past. This is very like open world, kind of in the wilderness, more or less. Than even more than their games have already been. So you would think that there's the exploring element's going to be one of the biggest parts, probably the biggest part of this game. It's a very bold move by Fallout to try to do this. It is Bethesda, so I tend to kind of trust them because they do a lot of things right. But it's a dangerous move because it hasn't necessarily it's just never completely worked. I mean, trying to make something online feel very realistic, I just don't know if they can. I just don't know if they can pull that off. I think they're doing the best they can. They're doing the right things to move in that direction. But I'm a little concerned that that's going to actually flow as well as I think they're hoping it will.
I think it'll be fine. I'm a lot more optimistic about this game than you sound to be. But my biggest concern is the building. I really love building in Fallout 4, and they've already said that like you're not going to be able to build as large of settlements like you could in 4, which is kind of upsetting, but you can build them anywhere or almost anywhere. So I don't know. I'll have to see when the game comes out, but I really want to build epic.
It seems surprising
like forts and stuff
to me that they wouldn't be as big. Because, I mean, if you're dealing with factions and you're playing with your friends and stuff, you would think they'd want to make the settlements even bigger. Yeah. Because then you actually have people to be at the settlements with.
Well, I would imagine that
yourself.
You could probably combine them. Like, I could build beside you or something. And they're blueprint based. So, say I decide... They said it's very rare, but if I build a fort and then you build a fort in the same exact spot, it would just, like... kick out like my fort, and then it would be a blueprint, and then I can move that same little settlement that I made anywhere else.
Well, I think that also can alleviate some griefing, because I'm sure people could possibly figure out where a person had their base and didn't just build on it to be a dick. So now that kind of alleviates that process too.
Yeah, you just pick up and move somewhere, which is kind of nice.
So yeah, I think that's a good move. I'd be a little concerned about that too, that they would actually drop the amount of how high the settlement could be. I mean, I think it'll probably generally. I'm sure you can still make very epic stuff. I mean, the first one, there was the amount of epicness you could put into a settlement was insane. So I guess it's not necessarily a bad thing to drop that down a little, but I'd be maybe a tad concerned about that, I guess. Considering you're going to be playing with more players and stuff.
Yeah, and then they have a new star card system. It works differently. I mean, it's a perk tree. Well, it used to be a perk tree, but now it's a star card system, kind of like Battlefront in a weird way, where every time you level up, you get like a new card, which is a new level up. It's a different ability, and you can like mix and match. I think you can only have like 4 or 5 cards activated at a time, but you can like trade with your teammates. Like, so if I squad up with you and I have a perk card, I can like share that perk with you because we're in a little group together. So like you could have all your perk cards set up for crafting, and then I could have all my perks set up for like being a badass with all kinds of power armor weapons and stuff. That way I could like do all the heavy fighting, and then you could do all the building, and then you can just mix and match anytime you want. So I could just like pause the game, unequip my cards, and then equip new cards. So this is definitely a different system than previous Fallout games.
Yeah, and I think, and like you said, it kind of works with the ability to play with other people. So I think it's more or less built for that, and I think they changed it kind of for that reason. So I mean, I'm kind of perfectly fine with that, because I think it'll fit the archetype for what they're trying to get in the game overall.
Yeah, I think.
So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
And then
they also talked about the nuclear missiles and
that's
stuff.
What I was going to bring up.
And that because people were worried that they would just nuke the
everything.
Same griefers and stuff would just nuke everything, and they kind of pointed out that wouldn't really help for them to do that, because it sounds like there's going to be an alert far before the nuke hits. So that gives the people, like if they launch a nuke right directly on somebody, that person will have time to get out of the area, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But if they do that, the nuke will drop on that person's place, and that person will be the one who gets all the valuable loot because they're already there. So it wouldn't really make sense for them to do that, because it would actually hurt them, because they would go through all that process of getting the nuke, which is supposed to be very, very difficult to do, and it'll take a really, really long time. So then you go through all that difficult process of getting the nuke, and then somebody else gets all the value out of it because you launched it at them.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds kind of like that's not going to work for the griefing process either.
Yeah, the nukes are more of a late game thing, kind of like a raid type deal. Like you get with your buddies, you get all the launch codes.
Yeah, like a Destiny raid.
You launch the nuke at whatever. I think they said there's going to be different bosses and stuff, and you could like launch the nuke at that, and then the nuke like levels the whole area, and then you go in, and then there's like all this legendary gear and all kinds of stuff that you can loot from you nuking that area. And then they said that area will like respawn back to normal over a set amount of time, like probably after everybody leaves the server and whatnot. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think for me that sounds cooler than like the raids in Destiny do. I think the whole, like just the idea of capturing a nuke at the end makes the whole thing kind of worth it, just to be able to
it changes every time.
Watch the whole process.
You can launch the nuke at the top of the map one time and then launch it at the bottom of the map the next time, or just you can launch it anywhere. So
yeah,
it's
as big
different.
as the map's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's not like the whole place is gonna be leveled with nukes all over the place. It's gonna be, sounds like a very rare event. It's not gonna be something that's just gonna be happening all the time and make it feel unrealistic. It's definitely gonna be something that's not gonna happen that often, especially when there's only 30 people in the server overall. So it's kind of neat because it's just a different way of doing it. The whole MMO type has kind of been spun on its head for this game.
I'm pretty excited.
It's interesting to me, and I'm really excited for it. I'm tentative because it is different, and I'm a little concerned about how they're going to make it all work. But I like that it doesn't sound like they're going for the same approach that other MMOs have gone for. So I mean, that it makes me excited that they are very, very aware of what's going on and trying to make it as good as possible. I don't know if on release if it's going to be
it'll be buggy
perfected
as hell.
Necessarily.
On release it'll be messed up.
But I do think after a few updates, this game might be really, really special. I mean, regardless, it's probably going to be fun. I just think after a few updates, it could be something like very,
My
very
only
memorable.
concern will be
is a big time video game for a long
the
time.
mods. I don't know how that's going to work. Like if you're in a modded server and if they're going to make the mods like you have to buy them with the Creation Club, like they tried doing with Skyrim and Fallout.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Going to piss a lot of people off. And then you're going to see that some rando stranger has this really epic mod, and then you're like, well, heck, I want that mod, and then you're going to want to buy it, and it's just, it's a weird gray area.
I feel like if you get in a modded server, you kind of know what you're getting into. It's like I wouldn't feel bad about anything that happens in there, because that's just a playground of insanity.
Yeah.
Basically anything can happen in a modded server. I feel like if you go in there, it's not like I want to have a serious game now. It's like, nah, you're in a modded server. You're outside the serious zone.
Well, I mean, you can have like a modded, hopefully like a modded private server where you guys only have like modded gear or something.
That'd be
you can have. I don't know if you can have graphic changes with that kind of server in the game. I don't know how that would work, because then your buddies obviously couldn't see it. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna get mods to work with multiplayer like this, but they said they're gonna bring them, so I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It's gonna have to be along with these private servers. I don't know how else they would do it. That's the only way I think that's gonna work out. But yeah, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to get excited for. So hopefully this game really turns out. We're both excited for it. I'm a little tentative about it, but we'll see what happens. So let us know, guys, what you guys think of Fallout 76. Let us know what you think of these new updates we told you about today. You guys as excited as we are? Are you a little scared? Are you completely against Fallout 76 doing this multiplayer thing at all. Let us know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe as always, and let us know what you guys want us to talk about in future vids too. And we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.